Okay, so just to recap from that last example, the 4m over 3mn, first thing that you want to do, if you can cancel out any factors right away, do that because it'll make your life a lot easier. Okay, so when I had first shown you I didn't cancel out the factors, you can still do it, and then in the very end you can actually cancel out a factor as well, but if you just start with that, it'll make it easier. Alright, as promised, here are a few more challenging ones. So, first step that you need to do is you need to factor your denominators. So we're going to factor this one here. It's a difference of perfect squares, so square root of the first, square root of the second. One is positive and one is negative. Now what I'm going to do, same type of process, is I'm going to rewrite these over to the side. Okay, so two different denominators. My new denominator needs to include every single part of those factors. Okay, so I actually don't really need to do anything with prime factorization here because they're already in factored form. So starting with my very first denominator, I have an x minus 4 as a factor. So I can cancel that one out. And then I have an x plus 4 as a factor. Okay, because that's repeated for both denominators, I can cancel that out as well. So that's it. My new denominator needs x minus 4 and x plus 4. So for my first fraction, I don't need to do anything to change that. My second fraction, I do need to multiply it by x minus 4. Okay, these types of problems are a little bit different than the other ones. So now let's just rewrite this. 16 over x minus 4, x plus 4, plus 2 over, I'm going to write it in the same order, x minus 4, x plus 4. And I forgot that my top needs to be multiplied by x minus 4. Okay, now that my denominators are the same, I'm going to go ahead and combine my fractions. So I have 16 plus, and I'm going to distribute this 2 as well. So 2x minus 8 over the same denominator. Okay, and I can clean this up a little bit, simplify it a little further. 2x plus 8 over x minus 4, x plus 4. Okay, there's actually something else that I can do as well. On my numerator, if I factor out a 2, I'm left with an x plus 4. Okay, my denominator stays the same. Notice that when I took out or factored out a 2 from both terms, I was left with x plus 4, and I can actually cancel those out now. So my final answer is 2 over x minus 4. So you do need to double check this part here, okay, when you're simplifying it, because sometimes when you're adding and subtracting rational expressions, especially ones like these, your final answer, you might be able to cancel out a term. Okay, the only reason we had this, we couldn't cancel anything out in the beginning part here. There wasn't anything we could cancel out. But because we're adding and subtracting that 16 and that negative 8, that's when we were able to get another factor to cancel out in our final product. Okay, so just pay attention to that one. All right, another challenging one. Give me 1 second, I'll bring that up for you guys. All right, so here's another example. A little bit more of a challenging one again. First thing we want to do is we want to factor. All right, our first fraction is already factored. There's nothing I can cancel out. My second one I do need to factor. I'm just going to write the factors, so we're seeing what numbers here multiply to 15 and add up to 8. Going to be 3 and 5. Okay, we'll add up to 8. So you have an x plus 3 and an x plus 5. All right, so now we're going to list our denominators over to the side. Okay, and my new denominator then. I need an x plus 5 as a factor, so I can cancel that out. I can cancel it out from both of them. And then I need an x plus 3. All right, that's it. So my second fraction already has both of those included. My first fraction, I need to multiply it by an x plus 3 in order to get the denominator to match up. So let's go ahead and simplify. I have x plus 3 times 3 over x plus 3 times x plus 5 plus 5 over x plus 5 times x plus 3. All right, I'm going to combine these now, add those together. When I add them, I'm going to actually distribute that 3 as well. So I get a 3x plus 9 plus 5 over x plus 5 times x plus 3. All right, add that 5 and that 9 together. So I have 3x plus 14 Okay, and there's nothing I can factor out in the numerator, no way that I can make it simpler. So this is your final answer. Okay? So on Google Classroom, where this video is, there will be a worksheet. You are going to practice some of those. Pick a few problems. You do not need to practice every single problem. Okay, I'm not collecting the worksheet, so it's really just for you guys to practice until you feel comfortable. Do not practice just the first few problems. Typically on worksheets, the ones in the beginning are the easier problems and the ones at the end are the more challenging ones. So pick a few, maybe a few in the beginning until you feel comfortable, and then try a few at the end just to make sure that you're comfortable with the challenging ones. Okay? Here's just a recap for you guys with your steps when you're adding and subtracting rational expressions. Some of them may look like this example here, okay, where you have an x plus 5 as one of your factors, and others of them may look like an example like this, where you're just multiplying variables and numbers. You're not adding variables and numbers on your denominator. Okay, so pay attention to the two different forms that we've kind of looked at today. Okay, the other thing too that I want you guys to do, and this is going to be after you watch this video, after you try some practice problems on your own, is I want you to actually complete a Google form quiz, right? So I'm going to show you what that kind of looks like. You are going to go on to Google Classroom. Okay, and on Google Classroom, you will see in the classwork section under week 2, Google form quiz. There's a little explanation there. Okay, it's just for me to double check what you're comfortable with and how you're processing this new material. So when you click on this Google form quiz, it will have the problem there, or you can get the problem from the slide. You need to solve this. So it is a little bit more challenging, okay? But you need to solve this on your own. And then what I would like you to do is take a picture of your work and send it to me, okay? Just so that I can see, are you getting the correct answer, and is your work showing up with the correct format as well, and you know what all the steps are. If for some reason you're having trouble submitting a picture, just email me and just let me know, okay? We can work through that. But I do want you to work on this. I have a due date in there, I believe, by Sunday at 11:59. If you don't happen to get to it until early next week, that's fine as well. Just try to get it done this week, so then as we move on to new content next week, you're not trying to play catch up with everything as well. Okay? So Google form quiz, work on this and submit a picture of it. It's just so that I can kind of see how you're processing this new material. So 2 things that you need to do is you need to work on the practice worksheet, pick a few problems until you're comfortable with it, and then you need to do the Google form quiz. Okay, submit a picture of your work. All right, hope you guys are having a good week. Your challenge for this week is to try something new. Okay, so see if there's something new that you can do. Hopefully you have a decent bit of time that you can maybe figure out Try something new. Maybe it's creating a new recipe, trying a new activity. Okay, try something new. Log on Thursday for a Google Hangout session if you have questions. We're only going to do one session on Thursday, and then we might just from here on out do as needed for those. Okay, so try something new, do those few practice problems, the Google form quiz, and then log on to a Google Hangout session if you have any questions. And you guys will hear from me next week then.